It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show. We're back again. The Flow Man has decided to return, which is quite nice. Any danger of that latte that you've been promising me? I can smell it, but I don't have it in front of me. What do you got?
I've actually got a football here. We're not far away from
That's
our...
not a football. That's not a football, Flow
It's
Man.
a rugby ball, all right, okay. It is a very large football because it's a rugby ball. We're getting towards the winter part of the season, but we haven't finished with the round ball game, and Ellis Gelios is with us, who gives us every update every week, including on the Sports Fix.
He does.
He joins us now. Hi, Ellis. How are you?
Hey, guys. It's a bit numbing knowing I'm not in there today, given the eventful few weeks we've had at Flow HQ in the last month. But so much going on in the World Game, so very, very happy to be joined remotely.
Well, I'm telling you now, I think you're awfully unlucky to have been relegated to the phone line. At least you bring me a coffee. I can't get one out of the Flow Man, so... Never mind. I tell you what, next opportunity to get you back, mate, I'll be taking it with open arms. I promise you that.
No worries.
Hey, let's talk football, the World Game. First of all, actually, before we get into A-League, and there's something happening in Adelaide that I want to ask Ellis about as well.
Right.
Can we have a look at what's been going on in Europe? The EPL, there's not a lot happening there, but in the Champions League, I think we're up to the quarter-final stage, Ellis. Is that right?
That is correct. We've just had our second legs of the round of 16 played. No real massive shocks aside from Porto beating Juventus, which is obviously quite devastating for Juventus. But yeah, we've had some fixtures just recently being played to close out those second legs. Obviously, Liverpool getting in comfortably against Leipzig, Real Madrid. No real threat from Atalanta, who will be disappointed going back to the Bernabeu, because Real Madrid are nothing crash hot this year at all, guys. And Atlanta are serial goal scorers in the Serie A this season in Italy, so they'll be disappointed they made nothing of that second leg away at Madrid. Man City were always going to get it done against Borussia Mönchengladbach, and we had Chelsea very much maintaining the status quo, beating Atletico Madrid. Of course, Atletico Madrid, very defensive side, but never really going to get anything done away to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, particularly when Chelsea took that slender 1-0 lead out of the first leg in Spain. And then Bayern Munich, well, they went into this tie 4-1 up already, and really with nothing to play for whatsoever. And it wouldn't surprise me if they really were playing this one out with one eye towards their Bundesliga fixtures coming up on the weekend, because that is the nature of absolutely steaming past Lazio from the first leg. So really no great shocks aside from Porto, who are flying the flag for Portugal in the Champions League. You never expect a Portuguese club to get this far, guys, but fittingly it was this club that managed to do it some 15 years ago. So there you are, they're back again.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you can see now why, folks, we allow Ellis Gelios to just go for it when it comes to English football. The names of some of those clubs, what
was that?
I don't know. You know the one. Pick it out. Tell us again.
Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Yep, there you go. Did he swear at me just then? It's a family show.
I might just go get you a cup of coffee, I think, mate.
True. I can pronounce the A-League clubs. Let's talk about them. Oh, my. That was impressive stuff, Ellis Gelios.
Good.
That's why he's our expert. Hey, what about the A-League last week? Adelaide United beating their hated rival, the Melbourne Victory.
Yes.
A little bit of sledging going on, a little bit of racism, if you don't mind. What did you make of it as a Reds fan?
Yes, well, I very much do mind, because the racism part was out of order. But look, Adelaide United, there was a bit of a scare that they might bowl this one, guys. It's the original rivalry played last Saturday night in Melbourne. Melbourne Victory really just trying to mount some form of pride. Grant Brevin obviously really under fire, as is the entire Melbourne Victory board. So going into this game, much was made of the fact that the Victory are probably at their lowest ever point in the entire A-League era. They needed to get some kind of result out of this one, and they failed to do so, despite going 1-0 up through what was a fantastic goal by Jake Brimmer, the former Liverpool Academy prospect. Unfortunately, hopes faded very quickly. Victory ended up losing 3-1. And it was Adelaide United's fourth win in a row, so they now very much are looking like dark horses in what is a very mouth-watering finals race at the moment, guys.
Oh, yes, it is, Ellis. And I'll tell you, that puts them into third place, those Reds. And they're actually now up to about the same place where the girls have been. And that says something, doesn't it? Because we've been following the Adelaide United girls, but now the boys have made it through to third place on the ladder.
Correct, yeah. It's been obviously a testing season for them. They were looking like they were really quite undercooked at one point not very long ago. It seems like just a month ago we were talking about Adelaide United potentially being in a bit of a crisis. But there you go. Here they are now springing into third place. And I'll tell you what, Melbourne City, very much a similar story there. They've won 4 in a row now. We're talking about Patrick Isnorbo potentially being under fire, just as is his neighbours, Melbourne Victory with Grant Brevner, but not the case at all. They are absolutely flying at the moment, and Melbourne City and Central Coast Mariners could be a massive, massive game Monday night if Melbourne City can upset the Mariners, because City are really looking like the real deal at the moment with the way that they're playing, but we've got a big blue in amongst all that, guys, on Monday night, which it doesn't get any bigger than that. Despite Melbourne Victory being where they are, Melbourne Victory versus Sydney FC was really designed to be the biggest game that you'll ever see played in Australia back when the A-League formed in 2005, and it never disappoints. We've seen in the last 10 years some absolute humiliations delivered to Melbourne Victory by Sydney FC. So I dare say, given how things have been going in the last few weeks, we could very much witness something similar on Saturday night. Of course, we saw Sydney FC embarrass Melbourne Victory 6-1 in the finals back in 2018-19. Sydney FC also beat Melbourne in Melbourne 5-0 back on Australia Day in 2014. So these are very humiliating results for Melbourne Victory against their main rival. But I guess in these huge games, guys, you kind of can't always acknowledge form going into them, because you know what they say about derbies. The form never matters. It's always about what takes place on the night.
Yes.
Melbourne Victory fans will certainly be hoping that that's the case come Saturday.
Let's hope so, for the game's sake at least, and for the spectators. Of course, that's one of the 3 points that Ellis has picked out in his 3 things to watch out for in round 13 of the A-League. You can check out that article right now on Flow News 24 for argument's sake. Other points, watch out for the Wanderers, the Western Sydney Wanderers. And I loved your 3rd point, so I've got to say. The 2-2 draw against Perth Glory on home soil. Are the wheels falling off for the Mariners? Check out all of those points on Flow News 24. Before we let you go, I have to ask you this, Ellis, because I know as a mad Reds supporter, you have your own YouTube page, Purebred Reds. I think I've got that right, haven't I?
You have, indeed. Spot on.
Yep. And Ellis does some great interviews on there, Flo, man. I know you've seen them. But
watched them.
In Adelaide, at the moment, they're talking about building a new boutique stadium on the riverbank near Adelaide Oval. It'll be an indoor stadium. $700 million are going to be poured into this. And it'll host what sports, Flo, man?
Well, this is interesting. It's opposite the Adelaide Oval, near the Convention Centre. It almost backs into the Royal Adelaide site. Now, it's only a small parcel of land. The boutique stadium is said by the Premier in his announcement, this is Stephen Marshall, Premier of South Australia, that they will build this stadium as a 15,000-person multi-purpose sports and entertainment facility, hosting basketball, netball and tennis. In other words, it's not big enough to host, as a boutique stadium would, a soccer match. Now, Ellis, Gelios, we know that Highmar Stadium has been given a grant in recent times for it to go ahead, or Cooper Stadium as it's now known. That would give it a extra capacity. How do you feel about the Premier's response here with this new stadium? Should it have included the World Game, given the events that could be coming up in the future?
No matter what side of politics you sit on, I love calling out a political backflip, and that's what we've seen here, guys, because rewind the clock's 12 months. The government were rolling out all these plans here in South Australia to move the football faithful out of Cooper Stadium. We know that, it's been said by Adelaide Venue Management that Cooper Stadium has no more than 15 years of life left in it, but of course, the even more polarising topic is that of the 2023 Women's World Cup, which will be jointly hosted by Australia and New Zealand. Now, South Australia missed out on hosting any Asian Cup games back when the men's version of that tournament was held in Australia in 2015. So very interesting that the government's decided to back itself in by redeveloping Cooper Stadium. Cooper Stadium very often overlooked for so many high-profile spectacles. There's change room issues amongst plenty of other outdated facets that relate to the ground. But look, to the finer point of what it means for the long term, as an Adelaide United fan, I have no issues at all because Cooper Stadium, if you speak to any away fan in the A-League, they'll tell you it's the best trip they do. Cooper Stadium is the only purpose-built football venue in the country. This ground is the best ground to be in when it's shoulder-to-shoulder, guys. The most intimately built stadium there is. I guess selfishly, I have no issues with the government backflipping. But in terms of what it says for the regard that football is held in South Australia, I think they're doing a bit of a sneaky here. And I dare say that football fans should feel stiff. But from a selfish individual perspective, I don't want to leave Cooper Stadium, so I'm happy.
That's a comprehensive wrap. Ellis Gelios, check out his work on Flow News 24. Ellis, enjoy the A-League this weekend. We'll catch you next week.
You guys take care.